All right. Good morning, everyone. What's going on? Happy Thursday. Wednesday, my bad. It's kind of like a Thursday, though. Market is closed on Friday, so for us traders, it's kind of like a Thursday. All right, quick sound check. Make sure we are good to go here. And we'll jump right in. Hey, Briggs, Claudia, Groovy, Jeff, Mick V, Omer, Mirza. All right. We are rocking and rolling. So let's take a look here at the futures. And as far as the NQ goes, we've got a 15-minute and a 5-minute buy signal. And that's about it. So, on a shorter week, you want to set your expectations properly. Doesn't mean we can't get a big move. But a lot of times in a shorter week, you get a little bit more back and forth. With that being said, though, we got a handful of squeezes here. 5-minute, 15-minute, 4-hour, daily, and the 2-day. And keep in mind, the last time we had a 4-hour squeeze, which was back here last week, got ourselves a pretty good push. And now this morning, we are getting the slingshot signal. So there's the NQ, and then on the S&P futures, for squeezes, we have a 4-hour, fresh 4-hour squeeze. And then the signals are pretty quiet. All right, 4 hours neutral, 2 hours neutral. Got ourselves a 15-minute buy signal, and that's about it. So like I said, we might not get a big move this week. My thinking would be if we go into next week and we still got the 4-hour squeezes here, that should be the focus. They fire long, they fire short. As far as the next meaningful move, that should come from your 4-hour squeezes. And then we'll take a look here at the YM, the Dow Jones futures. And not too much happening here. We got a 2-hour squeeze and then the rut. We got a few squeezes here on the rut. The 3-day time frame, the 2-day time frame, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, and the 15. So the theme this morning for the futures, 4-hour squeezes. And now I'll get the squeeze board up here. And we'll take a look at the indices first. The cash market. For the monthly chart, we got a squeeze on the IWM and the RSP. IWM also has a 3-day squeeze, a 2-day squeeze, a daily, a 1-hour, and a 30-minute. And then we got a daily squeeze on the QQQ along with a 2-day squeeze. So as far as the small caps go, when we look at that monthly chart, it's positioned like the S&Ps were positioned back in April, May of last year. All right. Let me pull up the S&Ps here. Going back to last April, or April, May, we had a big monthly squeeze. We got the slingshot signal, the blue arrow, and that's your first heads up. They crank out the slingshot signal. That's your first heads up sometime soon. You might get the official buy signal. When they take it from the slingshot to the official buy signal, in the context of a big squeeze, from there, they might want to take it into your upside target. That played out perfectly here for the S&Ps. So as far as the small caps go, we are getting our first heads up. They might want to take that back to about 230, 240. And granted, it's a monthly chart, right? So I'm not talking this week. I'm not talking this month. But, give that 4, 5, 6 months. That might be the path higher here for the small caps. And then we'll take a look here at the money makers. All right, the big boys, the Mag 7. All the crowd favorites. One that I think is pretty interesting. And keep in mind, we got earnings coming up. So when you're about 4, 5, 6 weeks out from earnings, and you've got a big weekly squeeze, a daily squeeze, a lot of times those squeezes might kick off the run into earnings. So for the Google here, we have the weekly and the 3-day. And we'll pull that up here real quick. Now, Google's had this weekly squeeze for quite a while. Pretty much since September, October of last year. Pretty big compression, and earnings comes up around end of April. Looking like it might be April 23rd. So I do think there's some potential here if they can fire that squeeze. That might kick off the run into the announcement. And that squeeze can take Google to about 160, 165. And to make things a little bit better, if we drop down to the 3-day time frame, we got a beautiful 3-day squeeze. It's my favorite thing. Squeeze on squeeze action. The only thing about Google, though, if I'm trying to play the weekly squeeze, if I'm trying to play that 3-day squeeze, I don't really have a spot to buy it. My preference would be, all right, we got a weekly squeeze, we got a 3-day squeeze. Can I build my position somewhere near that 21 EMA on the daily chart? Now, the quality of the daily chart, rock solid. Fresh momentum cross. It trades above the trailing stop. It's got good structure. She's a 12 out of 12. If I could pick it up a little closer to 146, 145, I'd be a happy camper. So there's Google. And then for the rest of the bunch here, on the 2-day time frame, you've got Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta. And then on the daily time frame, we got to squeeze in Amazon, Netflix, and Meta as well. So there's your money makers. And then we'll take a quick look here at the sectors. And you'll notice a lot of monthly squeezes here on the sectors. Utilities, healthcare, XLP, the real estate sector, ARC. Check out ARC. ARC has a monthly squeeze, a weekly, a 3-day, a 2-day, and a daily. So if you look at your ARC components, all right, go to etfdb.com, and we'll type in ARC here. We will pop open the ARC hood, and we look at the holdings. What's good for ARC should be good for the ARC stocks. Coinbase, Tesla, Square, and we're long Square right now. Roku, Path, Zoom, Roblox, DraftKings. DraftKings had a really good move. Shopify, Palantir, etc., etc. So keep an eye on that. One squeeze is cool. 2, 3, 4, 5 of them all setting up at once. That much cooler. And then a few more where that came from. Energy. And the only thing I don't like about energy, I'm not getting a pullback to buy it. If they can take that down to about $90 and change, I think that might be a really good buy the dip opportunity. When you're buying the dip, the art of buying the pullback, it's a matter of what am I buying the pullback into? Am I buying a pullback into an uptrend? Am I buying a pullback into a downtrend? Is the structure bullish? Is it bearish? If I can get a pullback here in energy to, somewhere near that 21 EMA, what am I buying the pullback into? I'm buying it into a perfect weekly chart that just fired a big weekly squeeze. Even better, I'm buying that pullback into a beautiful monthly squeeze. The monthly squeeze here calls for a push into about $100. And with that, you got your Exxon Mobil's. Other good-looking monthly squeeze. You've got your Valero's. Valero's a bit of a beast here. You got MPC. You got FANG. You've got the Chevron. So on and so on. So waiting for a pullback in XLE. And then what else we got here? If you look at the daily chart, got a daily squeeze in XLK, utilities, healthcare, the transports, real estate. And then I think an interesting one here is BITO. That's the Bitcoin ETF. Take a look at that one. I like that pattern. It's in an uptrend. All right, they're pushing, they're pushing, they're pushing. First pullback to a 21. Perfect hold of support. Structure holds up really good. That brand new daily squeeze over time might trigger long. That might give you continuation of that uptrend. With that, you're looking at Coin, you're looking at Mara, MSTR, all the crypto names. So a couple different sectors there. And then for the watch list here, at the moment, we're long Square and Crowd. We grabbed Square on Monday, and we grabbed some Crowd yesterday. So for SQ here, got ourselves a daily squeeze, and we got all the pretty colors. It's above the trailing stop, good structure. We got the buy signal. We got a 12 out of 12. Got ourselves an A+ setup. So we grabbed the 90 strike calls for the April monthly expiration. If we can get a push into about 87.50, I think we'll cash out and we'll move on to the next one. And it looks like in the pre-market, let me take a look here. Pre-market bid and ask squares up about 1.25%, 1% and change. And then for crowd here, CRWD, a lot of squeezes. The more, the merrier. 3-day time frame, the 2-day time frame, the daily, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, and the 1-hour, all building up that energy. So we bought the April monthly expiration 350 calls. From here, we're looking for that domino effect. If they can fire that 1-hour squeeze, that can take us to about 340, 343. My bad. That's the 4-hour. If they can fire the 1-hour, that can trigger a push to about 336. If they trigger the 4-hour squeeze, that can take you to about 343, 345. If they can fire the daily squeeze, that could take it upwards of 350 to 360. And then on the 3-day time frame, that could take it to about 380 and change. So we're long Square, we are long Crowd, and then a few more names here off the watch list. Where's my notepad? There we go. All right, we took a look at Google. Then you've got ELV. And I think we've been covering ELV here for about a week or so. It's pretty similar to Crowd. 2-day squeeze, daily squeeze, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 15, and the 5. The daily squeeze calls for a push into about 530. Got some buy signals, got some good structure. All the fixins for a push higher. And then not the sexiest name, although admittedly we traded Best Buy last week. It was a pretty good trade. We bought that on Thursday. We flipped it out on Friday. So sometimes the names aren't as sexy on paper, right? Might not be a Google, might not be an Nvidia, a Tesla. If they've got a good-looking setup, they can work just as good as a Google, an Apple, or a Tesla. So Coca-Cola here, KO. Again, not a very exciting name, but out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, out of the 10 time frames that I'm looking at a squeeze on, KO's got a squeeze on 9 of them. The weekly, the 3-day, the 2-day, the daily, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 15, and the 5. So it's a little bit off the beaten path. Not a big semiconductor, not a big tech stock. But again, you could have said the same exact thing about Best Buy. Gotta like that multi-squeeze action. Next up is Palantir, PLTR, and this kind of ties in with ARC. Off goes ARC, and ARC fires a daily squeeze, ARC fires that 2-day squeeze. That should be good for most ARC components, which Palantir is one of them. So we only got a daily squeeze. If we're playing process of elimination, I'm trying to narrow down my watch list to 2, 3, maybe 5 names. A name like Palantir, pretty good. A name like Crowd, I think a little bit better. 1 squeeze is cool. 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, that much better. But I do think with the context of the setup over there in ARC, you might want to keep an eye here on Palantir. Next up is NET, Cloudflare. And this one's got the slingshot squeeze on the daily chart, and I believe a slingshot on the 2-day. Yeah, there you go. A double dose of the slingshot. So that one's pretty clean. And then you got LYB. This one's pretty solid. 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour daily, and a weekly squeeze. Daily squeeze calls for a push into about 105, while the weekly squeeze calls for a push into 107, 108. So not a bad one there. And then that's about it, guys. I already showed you Google. I showed you ARC. I showed you the BITO. And that is about that. There's a few more out there. It's a great problem to have. We're in a market where there's too many things that look good. If I were to build out the entire watch list, we've probably got like 25 to 50 names in a squeeze with good structure, buy signals, all the ingredients for a good time. In an effort to try to narrow it down, the names that have the multi-squeeze, all right, 3, 4, 5 of them all setting up at once, I tend to want to move those towards the top of the watch list. And then a name like a Palantir, that could be good for a quick push. But I've got to think something like a Crowd, something like a Coca-Cola, and LYB. They might pack a little bit more of a punch. Alrighty. And then the other thing here on my futures watch list would be the 4-hour squeeze and the NQ. And hey, if they want to get it going this week, then I'm here for it. If not this week, then perhaps next week. But I don't want to fight that. 2-day squeeze, daily squeeze, 4-hour squeeze in the bull market, in the context of an uptrend, could go on to trigger a pretty good move here. Yeah, now we're getting the slingshot. So that is of interest for sure. But all right, folks, that's what I got for you. I'll run you through them one more time real quick here. And then any questions, anything you want to take a look at, let me know here in the chat. But we got Square. We've got the Crowd. The Crowd goes wild. Got the weekly squeeze in Google. We've got the multi-squeeze setup in ELV. Multi-squeeze in Coca-Cola. Palantir. NET. LYB. ARC. And BITO. So let me do this. I'll copy all those for you. And I'll put alerts here in both rooms. Big three squeeze watch list. There you go. And I'll drop that here on the YouTubes as well. But all right, let me. I'll get caught up in the chat here, and I'll see what you got. Tony, sometime soon, I hope. I sent everything over. They got to work on the TradingView version, so if not this week, then next week, I'd imagine. We're almost there, my friend. We're almost there. Yeah, Cosmo, it might be a narrow range day. The one thing that could change that could be that 4-hour squeeze, or better yet, the handful of 4-hour squeezes. If they do fire, we're gonna get some action. If they don't fire and it's a bit more of a chop fest, and the 4-hour squeeze keeps on squeezing, it'll be a little bit of hurry up and wait. We'll have to sit there all weekend waiting for Monday morning. Oh yeah, I did want to mention, for those of you in my mastery, we'll do our weekend prep session on Friday morning. I know we typically do it on Saturday. The market is closed. We got a holiday weekend, so I figured we'll do it Friday morning. Get that out of the way, and then you got the whole weekend to your family. So with that being said, if any of y'all want to check out the mastery, I'll drop the link here. We got the $7 30-day trial. Feel free to check that out. Come on over and join us, and we'll have a little Friday morning party over there in the mastery. It gets a little bit wild. I'm warning you. Okay, Keith on YouTube, Amazon. Yeah, so as far as Amazon goes, take a look here. We have a 30-minute, a 1-hour, a daily, and a 2-day squeeze. Now, my only gripe here with the daily squeeze, and this could change here at the open. Structure is perfect. All right, structure is the foundation, the backbone. Structure is really bullish. The missing ingredient right now is momentum. Got the big three squeeze. We got our momentum line. When momentum is below zero, it's not a deal breaker, but I have to have the slingshot. I've got to have that blue arrow. The blue arrow tells me, hey, you got to squeeze. You've got really good structure. And even though momentum is below zero, they're working on correcting it. It bottomed, and they're trying to push it back towards a positive reading. That was the case in our Microsoft trade. Structure is perfect. They break momentum. Momentum turns higher. We got the slingshot arrow, and off she goes. All right, same thing for Bank of America. We're buying it back here on that slingshot signal. To me, the holy grail, like the perfect setup, has everything: a squeeze, perfect structure, plenty of momentum, plenty of gas in the tank. That would be Best Buy. Best Buy from last week. Beautiful, right? Momentum, structure, buy signal, squeezes. So again, the fact that momentum is below zero, not a deal breaker, but I've got to get that slingshot. That's my heads up that, hey, they might want to take it higher. They might want to print the official buy signal. When they do that, they might want to take it into that 185, 186 target. So before I pick up some Amazon here, it's the only thing I'm waiting on. You had it for a few days. They lost it yesterday. If they can push it a little bit higher today, we should get it again. And then on the 2-day time frame, we got a fresh 2-day squeeze. And that one's just about perfect. Perfecto. Perfecto. Robert, Salesforce. Take a look here. Yeah, Salesforce has the 2-day, the daily, the 1 hour, and the 30-minute. If I'm going to nitpick, and it's my job to nitpick, I am a professional nitpicker. I don't love the fact it's under the trailing stop. Again, maybe not a deal breaker, but something to be mindful of. And I don't love the fact that we lost our slingshot. The structure is good. Structure label is green. They've got to fix that momentum problem. Notice how they did it back here. You had a squeeze. Structure was perfect. Little turn in momentum. It's heading back towards zero. We're getting the slingshot, and off she goes. And then from there, they got to get rid of that 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute sell signal. All right, compare that to BBY. They've got to do a little bit of cleanup. If they do, then I think they blast it higher, like everything else in this market. Hey, good morning, Tony. CLSK. Nice move. Yeah, nice move. Nothing bad I can say about it other than I missed the bus. I missed the bus, Gus. It's a little too far from the 21 EMA and a little bit too close to my target. My target would be about 26 bucks. For me to want to jump in and take a fresh entry. The goal should be we're buying it back here, right, in the squeeze, near that 21 EMA. Yeah, and now imagine the position you're in. You buy it back here. They're taking it higher. They haven't even fired the squeeze yet. They haven't even broken it out yet. However, because you got a really good entry, you're already sitting in a profit. Sitting in a profit gives you all kinds of flexibility. You can take off a few contracts. You can leave on a few runners. You can sit through a pullback a little bit easier. Aside from that, though, it looks poised for a breakout. Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. Tony, what happened to ELV? Let's take a peek, shall we? ELV. We'll have to see where it opens. The pre-market bid is 494, which is a really big dump. And the pre-market ask is up here at 523. Yeah, as far as I can see, nothing really happening here. Sometimes pre-market you look at a really weird, bid and ask, and then the market opens and everything's just fine. So unless I'm missing something, that should open up just okay, as far as I can see. If the bid and the ask was down there at 494, then you're getting the gap down. But I think potentially a little bit more noise than anything. But we shall see. We shall see. RUM. Yeah, I could go for a little rum right now. A little Coke and rum on a Wednesday morning. All right, earnings was when? Today or tomorrow? Earnings are today after the close. Yeah, that always makes things interesting, of course. Putting earnings aside, It's got a good-looking daily chart. It's got a 4-hour squeeze, and it's got a 2-day squeeze. As far as the signals go, everything points towards a move higher. If anything is going to rain on that parade, that might be earnings. If you do take it through the announcement, treat that like a lottery ticket. Keep the risk nice and small. All right, nothing that's going to keep you up at night. And then if you do catch a big move, you got a little cashola coming through. Little cashola. Mitch, they are currently adding the twin turbo as we speak. Funny you mentioned that. I like to kick off my morning on cars.com, basically building out my watch list of cars I want to buy. I'm trying to find the perfect C7 ZR1 right now for my imaginary garage. Hey, it's motivation. Motivation. Jane, what comprises of the big three score? A few different things. Let me find a good example. Let me look at crowd. And I won't give you all the ingredients, but I'm looking at structure things, and I'm looking at momentum things, and some trend things. Good example would be on crowd. It's above that daily 21. So there's 1 point. It's above the 50. There's another point. It is below the 200 SMA. There's another point. 21 above the 50. Another point. 50 above the 200. Another point. 50 SMA is trending higher. That's another point. So things like that. The structure of the moving averages, the direction of the moving averages, momentum, stacked DMAs, things like that. Things like that. Stefan, RH on Monday. Oh yeah, you caught a move there? Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, nice push there earlier. Terrence, Netflix. Yeah, Mitch, you and I both. In my mind, I got a 20-car garage, and I need more space. So as far as Netflix goes, it's a little bit like Amazon. We got our squeeze. Structure is bullish. The only thing I'm looking for is a slingshot signal. Reason being, momentum is below zero. When momentum is below zero, I can't look at that as a locked and loaded situation like a Best Buy. Like Best Buy truly had everything. Structure, momentum, squeezes, a buy signal across every time frame. When I see something like that, I can't buy it quick enough. That's just a ticking time bomb, dying to break out and push. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm looking for here on Netflix. Give me that little blue arrow, and then I think they work on taking it into about 650. Got a 2-hour squeeze, a 1 hour, a 30, and the 15. All right, guys, let me take a look here at the futures. I'm getting a few alerts going. All right, a little push. A little push. I think a lot of this will tie back to the 4-hour squeeze here in the NQ. The Googles, the Amazons, the Netflixes, the Metas, etc. they should move with the NQ, meaning the NQ takes that 4-hour squeeze, they fire it to the upside, they're pushing it back towards 18,700. Amazon, Meta, Netflix, etc. They should move higher with it. Vice versa, squeeze fires short. Amazon, Netflix, Meta, etc. They'll probably go lower. And then the third alternative, we just keep on squeezing and squeezing. Amazon, Netflix, Meta, they probably go nowhere. So as far as the compass, the GPS for the individual stocks, I think a big part of that would be that 4-hour squeeze here for the NQ. And like I said, if they want to get it going before the holiday, we're here for it. You won't hear me complain, that's for sure. I shall not complain. All right, guys, couple more questions, and then we'll call it a morning. Yeah, that donut. Old Krispy Kreme. What a combo, huh? Now you can get your Big Mac and a couple of Krispy Kremes. Yeah. Blood pressure through the roof. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I think it was up like 45% yesterday. Crazy stuff. I'm trying to think. When's the last time I had a Krispy Kreme? Orlando, Florida. We were out there for the live meetup, the live simpler trading meetup. They were good. They were good. All right, we check out on YouTube. AMD. As far as AMD goes, I don't have a setup here right for now. On AMD, I kind of got to sit back and wait, or I can day trade it. The reason I don't have a swing trade, I don't have clarity. Right? If we look at the big three score here, it's a -1. That's not a great long, and I wouldn't call it a good short. A good short would look like Starbucks. Starbucks would be the perfect short, or perhaps an Intel. +1, -1. To me, that just means take a step back, let things develop, wait for a bit more clarity. Under the 21, under the 50, under the trailing stop. I might not have clarity on my daily chart, but I can look for the next 15-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour squeeze. And if I can get clarity from that lower time frame squeeze, I can day trade it. All right, we'll go look here at the 1 hour. Right now the 1 hour is a bit more of a short. That could change here at the open, but as of the close, it's a -6, and the 30-minute would be a -5. But I mainly like to base things off the daily time frame. A -1, for me, it makes it a bit of a tough read. Where a name like a Square, 12 out of 12, I can call for a push higher. A name like a Starbucks, a -12 out of 12, I can call for a push lower. A -1, a -2, a +2. For my style of trading, not enough to work with. Right, again, if Best Buy is the holy grail, whether it be for a long, whether it be for a short. As far as clarity and calling for direction, AMD is pretty far from Best Buy. My game plan would be step back, let the dust settle, try to get a bit more clarity, and then we take it from there. But all right, y'all, I'm going to let you go here. I think JC's got some live trading today for his class. So being that I am a JC fan, I'm going to go check that out. And then for those of you in the Essentials room, I'm live today at 11:30 Central. Excuse me, for those of you in the Mastery, we'll be live tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central. And then, like I mentioned, we'll do our weekend prep session on Friday. We'll bang it out on Friday morning. And aside from that, guys, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Pre-market prep, same time, same channel. I hope to see you then. I thank you for coming through today, and I wish you all the best.